Assalamu alaikum students, hope you all be safe and healthy at your homes. And as you know that the schools and colleges are being closed for at least one more month, 1.5 month till 15th of July. So taking in the consideration that your loss of studies should not be there, Bahria Foundation College Guritan campus have started these online sessions, and via these online sessions you will be studying via Zoom online sessions, as well as the proper videos of the lectures will be provided to you via the WhatsApp group, as well as from the Facebook page as well. First of all, for the previous ninth class, I want you all to congratulate that you have been passed, you have been promoted to the next class without being that much of the effort. But obviously it was not that good as well, because I think that if you would be able to give your take your exams, you could perform very well. So during the first chemistry 10th lecture, we will start from the very first chapter, that is the chemical equilibrium, given on page number 6. This is the chapter number 9 of your whole chemistry chemical equilibrium. During this video we will be getting the basic information of the topic as well as the chapter, and if you will get the grip of the topic today, it will be easy for you to take the whole chapter. Okay, the whole chapter would be very easy for you if you will get the information today. Before starting the chapter, I will proceed with the brainstorming. Okay, as you have learned in the previous section of ninth class about the chemical reactivity of the elements, so keeping that information in your mind, we will just I will ask you some of the questions. That is, what is the chemical reaction, and what do you mean by chemical reactivity of an element? How the periodic table helps you to understand the chemical properties of an element, and what is a chemical equation? Okay, what is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is a reaction in which one or two elements or more than two compounds, they somehow interact together to give a new product. Okay, what do you mean by chemical reactivity? Chemical reactivity of an element is the tendency of an element, that how many of the electrons it can lose or gain, or how many of the electron it can share with any other atom to form a new product. Done. Now if you have this concept is clear in your mind, this concept would also be clear in your mind, that how periodic table help you to understand the chemical properties. You know that the periodic table, in the periodic table the elements are arranged according to their valence shell electronic configuration. The periods are mentioning the number of shell, valence shell, and the groups are mentioning the number of electrons present in the valence shell. And you know it very properly that the number of electrons in the valence shell are basically involved in the chemical properties of an element. They basically tell that if the element will share an electron, or the element would gain or lose an electron. Done. So by looking at the periodic table, you can get all this information just like that. Last but not the least, what is a chemical equation? A chemical equation is a simple symbolic representation of the chemical reaction, in which in the symbolic form you can tell where is the reactant and where is the product. What would be the reactant and what would be the product? This is a chemical equation. Okay. Now as we have discussed this earlier, what is a complete chemical reaction? A chemical reaction in which all the reactants are converted into a product. This is a complete chemical reaction. Similarly, there is a chemical equation which basically represents that how the reactants are converted into the products, showing reactants on one side of the arrowhead, and showing the products on the other side of the equation. So this information is basically for the complete chemical reactions, but there are some kind of reactions which are not completed at any time of their interaction, or you can say these reactions do not undergo completion, they are always incomplete. How they are always incomplete? What kind of reactions are they? If such reactions are possible, what are the uses of these reactions? This we will discuss in this topic today. Okay, let's start the getting the information or understanding of such reactions. Such reactions are basically known as the reversible reaction. What are they called? They are called the reversible reactions. Okay, First we will define the reaction, then inshallah I will mm, uh, uh, try my level best to make you understand these reactions. Okay. For example, if I'm saying, sorry, that the chemical reaction is not complete, there's a reaction beaker, there's a beaker, for example, you have some compounds in them, and I'm telling you that there's a reaction taking place, this reaction is not complete. It means in that beaker some of the content is of the reactants, and some of the products are also produced, are also present. Okay. So we can define the reversible reaction as that a reaction where the products formed can react together to produce the reactants again. Okay, it is difficult right now, this concept is difficult. Reversible means reverse. Okay, it means there are reactants who reacted together, they gave the products, but as the name indicated that this is a reversible reaction. What is happening, that those products which are formed, they actually react together again. Those products will react with each other again and give back the reactants. This is how the reaction is known as the reversible reaction, because this reaction is reversed now. Okay. Now for example, take an example. There are two reactants, A plus B, they are giving C plus D, the products. At some point, when a certain amount of product would be produced, now the C and D would react together again to produce A and B. Is it clear now? So, as the direction of the reaction is reversed, these reactions are known as the reversible reactions. And you can see the arrow which is given, the symbol which is given in between this reaction is very different from the normal reactions. This is called the reversible reaction sign. Like you can see, the half of the arrow is representing in the forward way, and the half of the arrow is representing the reverse way. So keeping this in your mind, these reactions are of two directions. There are two directions for these reactions: forward reaction and the backward reaction. Now what is a forward reaction? Forward reaction is simple. When the reactants are reacting and they are giving the products, this is a normal way, a normal routine. So this is a forward reaction. Done. But the backward reaction is that when the products react together and give back the reactants, the reverse way, the reversible reaction. So it is known as a backward reaction. Done. Next. Yes, this is very important. Now, if the topic of reversible reaction is very much clear, the main topic of this chapter would be clear to you now. Now you can see, if in the reaction material there are reactants and the products at the same time. Some of the reactants are there, those reactants reacted together to form products. Now these products, the extra products, basically what are they doing? They are again reacting together and giving the products. So this is a continuous way, like continuously this is happening. Okay, it means that the amount of reactants and the products would always be same. Let's take an example. For example, like I'm telling you that when in a proper process 5 ml of sulfuric acid has been produced. Okay, let's take a simple example. If you are boiling water, okay, the water will give up the vapors. Okay, you will cover that pot of boiling water with a lid. What will happen? The number of vapors which will be evaporating from the surface of the water will get condensed on the lid, and when they will be condensed on the lid, they will go back into the water again. They will produce like water vapors, and that water vapors will go back into the water again. So a continuous process there. The product, the reactant, for example, the water, the boiling water is a product, is a reactant that is giving a product that is vapor, and that vapors are condensing together again to produce produce the reactant again. This is a continuous way. So there is no loss of any water during that boiling process. So we can say that in the reaction material, the amount of reactants and the products would always be same. There would be same amount of them. So we can say like this is known as the state of chemical equilibrium. Done. This is the state of chemical equilibrium. So we can say that the whole reaction is in a chemical equilibrium. Both are in the same, they are stable. Nothing much is happening until unless you will produce any kind of effect on that. Done. Any kind of external pressure or any kind of external effect will change the direction of the reaction. Otherwise, this whole state is stable and this is in chemical equilibrium. Done. So we can define the chemical equilibrium as follows. A chemical reaction is in equilibrium when the concentration of the reactant means the amount of reactant, how much amount of reactant is present in there, and the amount of product, yani concentration of product, are constant. Hence there is no tendency, now it is stable, there is no tendency of any further change until and unless you will produce any effect via outside. Done. So there are some applications of the chemical equilibrium as well. This is very important for your understanding. Now, if you know the chemical, now inshallah we will, when you will proceed with the chapter, we will just learn these application in a very much detail. But keep this in your mind. If you know the basic understanding of the chemical equilibrium, you will get a very helpful. That would be very helpful in the chemical industries. Done. The reactions, there are reactions in the chemical industries in which some at any stage during that whole process you can get some commercial products via understanding of the chemical equilibrium. For example, ammonia as well as the sulfuric acid. I hope this all would be very simple and very informative and very much like it would help you to learn. So the task would be to learn the lesson by heart. You have to learn all the definitions which I have given to you via this video. Done. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you all be safe and healthy during this whole lockdown period.